Welcome to the driver ratings review following the Qatar Grand Prix. We'll go through each and every driver, score them out of 10 and see how they got on at the race over the whole weekend. Apologies, the video's a lot later than it normally is. We're now almost into race week, or we are into race week, aren't we, for Austin? I was away and things like that, but we'll get straight through it. And there's only one place to start. Max Verstappen, he won the race on Sunday. World champion on Saturday, but he had a bit of a mixed weekend, didn't he? On sprint day, he was a bit of a poor Saturday for his standards, wasn't he? Qualified in third place, finished in second in the end, but just didn't have enough there to win the race in the end. I don't know if that was just because of the number of safety cars that put him out there, but he put everything straight on Sunday, didn't he? He was on pole for that, and then he managed that pace, but didn't quite run off with it. But given that he's world champion, it's hard to not give him a 10, but because of the poor Saturday, I'm going to go for a 9 out of 10 for Max Verstappen for this weekend. And then comes Oscar Piastri, who finished second in the race, and he had a cracking Qatar Grand Prix. Wins a race, a sprint race winner, qualified on pole for that race also. And actually did really well in the race, didn't he, to finish second as well from 6th place. A fantastic job from him, a 10 out of 10. There's nothing more he could have pulled out from that McLaren. And then comes his teammate in third place in the race. He had a big turnaround on Sunday, didn't he? He had a big job to do. Poor qualifying on Friday for the race. On Sunday started 10th, but his sprint was brilliant, wasn't he? He was disappointed to be beaten by his teammate, and also his teammate gets a win at McLaren before he did. He was actually quite disappointed about that, wasn't he? Tried not to show it too much, but it was quite obvious that he wanted that first win for McLaren. That's been, he's the golden boy and the sort of leader in that team, and the rookies beat him to it. So he'll be disappointed with that, but a good recovery on Sunday, third place finish. But I'm going to go for an 8 out of 10 because it was a scruffy Friday and a scruffy Saturday, which really cost him a potential win and probably even a good fight with Verstappen, because they had pace in Qatar on the race day, but they just couldn't show it because they were so far back. And then in fourth place, George Russell. He was brilliant on Friday, wasn't he? Second placed for the start. All went wrong at the start with a collision with his teammate. I'm not sure there was an awful lot he could have done. Sprint day, they just were a bit off the pace, weren't they? And not really what we've seen. It was all, a bit scruffy from them on the Saturday. I'm not sure where their pace went there, but I'm going to go for a decent recovery from coming last and then finishing fourth. That Mercedes had real pace, and it's a shame that incident really lost us out on potentially what could have been. So I'm going to go for a 7 out of 10 for George Russell. And then in fifth place, Charles Leclerc. Now that Ferrari pit was just slow all weekend, didn't have a great sprint day, and also in the race they were just fairly steady, weren't they? I'm just going to go for a 6 out of 10 for Charles Leclerc. Fernando Alonso, 6th place finish in the race. Difficult weekend for Aston Martin, and they're like Ferrari again, were faster than the cars behind them, but weren't really making an impression up in front. Fernando Alonso, hard to judge that. He did start fourth, but he was never going to stay there, was he, with the faster cars behind him? I'm going to go for a 6 out of 10 for Fernando Alonso also. And then comes the Alpine of Ocon, who finished 7th in the race. The Alpine had good pace in the race, didn't they? Made the most of the weekend, got a points finish from him. Good result from him. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 for that one. And then comes Valtteri Bottas in 8th place. What a cracking race for him. Started way down, didn't he? But, fantastic job from Alfa Romeo. They were really on it in the race to get points from him. A fantastic job. I'm going to go for a 9 out of 10 for Valtteri. And then his teammate up behind in 9th place. He got promoted because of the penalties for Perez. Double points finish for that Alfa Romeo outfit. Fantastic job. Much needed points. And I'm going to go for An 8 out of 10 for Zhou Guanzu, because I think that was a really good result for him, much needed points. And then Sergio Perez, he finished in the points, final points position for him, 10th place. Started from the pit lane, he had a shocker all weekend. I'm going to go for a 2 out of 10 for Sergio Perez. He's been really poor. His Qatar Grand Prix was another weekend where he just needs to forget it and move forward and hope for better next time out in Austin. Yeah, he got lapped by his teammate Verstappen. I mean, yeah, nothing left to say after that, is there? And then 11th place, Lance Stroll. He'll be disappointed also, wasn't he? He was really frustrated. Angry Saturday, wasn't he? Pushing his Friday qualifying as well, pushing his team member. I mean, that not going to look too much into that, because when you look at this footage, it looked like his team member did provoke him a little bit on that one. So I can see sometimes, you know, when you're heat in the moment and you're angry and this guy's just putting his finger in your face and, you know, getting in your face a bit. You know, can't really condone it. Should be pushing people around like that, but you know, these are sports people. You know, you see that in football all the time, so I can kind of get it a little bit. But yeah, a 3 out of 10 for Lance Stroll for this weekend. And then Pierre Gasly, he finished in 12th place. He had a nice scrap with Russell and Ocon, didn't he? And then got a 5-second penalty for track limits. Yeah, he'll be disappointed because his teammate got points in 7th and he's finished out the points. So yeah, disappointing weekend for him. I'm going to go for a 5 out of 10 for Pierre Gasly for this weekend. And then Alex Albon, he finished in 13th place in the race. A good sprint day, wasn't he? He got some points, so really hard to judge this one because he had a really good sprint, got some points in the race. Got a penalty for track limits, and it was really hard to read this race, wasn't he? Was he having a good race? Was he just unlucky with the tyre was the way his worked out and the allocation, how much he could run, because we had this crazy, you know, 18 laps only on a set of tyres scenario, which just made it all confusing. But yeah, because of the sprint's points, I'm going to go for a 7 out of 10 for Alex. And then comes Kevin Magnussen. He started way down in 18th, finished in 14th place in the end. He was up to 12th at one point and looked like he was in a battle for some points in that Haas team. Much needed points for them. Wasn't to be, and their car's just not fast enough, is it, at any point this weekend. But he's been hammered by his teammate actually, so he'll be disappointed, especially in the sprint anyway. So yeah, I'm going to go for a 5 out of 10 for Kevin Magnussen. Yuki Tsunoda up next. He finished in 15th place. He was up into 8th place at one place at the start. Yeah, then just dropped back at the end. Bit disappointing from him. Beats his teammate though. I'm going to go for a 6 out of 10 for Yuki. And then comes Nico Hülkenberg. He finished in 16th in the race. He was at the back in P17. On lap 37, and it was just, yeah, not a great race for him and the Haas team. Yeah, 5 out of 10 for Nico Hülkenberg. Liam Lawson up next. He finished in 17th place. Not a great finish to his time at AlphaTauri. I think next time out in Austin it's back for Danny Rick, but he's done a tremendous job up until this race. Yeah, it's bound to have a scruffy race at some point, but it happened. I'm going to go for a 6 out of 10 for Liam Lawson. Then comes Logan Sargent. He retired due to becoming sick in the car. Yeah, it's a hard one to judge that. I mean, I could see what Ocon was saying, wasn't he? He threw up at the car as well at one point. And he was saying, like, you know, there was no way I was retiring. I was going to make it to the end. No matter how I did it, but I would have done it. And we've seen other drivers before, you know, fall on the last lap, which pushing the car out of exhaustion, and yeah, I don't know how to judge that. He probably did the right thing. It's best to be safe, and you don't, you know, if you're that unwell, and drivers were reporting some serious issues in the heat. But yeah, the poor weekend, all weekend. I'm going to go for a 2 out of 10 for Logan Sargent. Then comes Lewis Hamilton. Race finished on turn 1, didn't he? Punted out by his teammate, and we were kind of robbed there from him. He had a decent sprint race. Overall, it's hard to judge because of his mistake on that first corner. So I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10 for this weekend. You know, fine margins for that small mistake, but expect better from a 7-time world champion on that point. But yeah, and then finally, Carlos Sainz, he didn't start, did he, in that Ferrari? Had an issue with his fuel line early on, and that meant he didn't have enough time to get that car ready for the start. Yeah, he's not had didn't make much impression all weekend, did he, Carlos Sainz? That Ferrari just wasn't in the hunt at any point for a fight for the front, but yeah, hard to judge and score Carlos Sainz. It'll be on the sprint race alone. I'm going to go for a 5 out of 10 for Carlos Sainz for this weekend. And yeah, that wraps up the driver ratings. Watch out for the Austin race review video coming up shortly. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment as always. I'll see you in the next video.